This video is about installing the windows, subfloor, steel grate, and ceiling in the tower. Welcome to Home in the Earth. My parents are in town for this one, so we'll be doing multiple jobs in parallel. We'll start with the windows. We got a lot of window practice in on the lower levels of the house, so the windows should be the easy part. We just start with window tape around the frame, and then we just pop them in. We shim them level and then screw them tight through the nail flanges on the outside and through the window frames on the inside. 7 more to go. The floor is framed in, but if you drop the tool, it's open and it would fall 16 feet down to the concrete floor below. We need to get the plywood subfloor down. The subfloor will take a lot of cuts to fit those rectangular boards into that ring-shaped floor, and I thought that using 4x8 sheets of Spider Lath might make it easier to get those right the first time. We're multitasking here, so back to the windows. Meanwhile, off camera down in the shop, I'm using the Spider Lath template to cut a piece of plywood for the subfloor. And now I can just bring it in the window and drop it down on the floor. I had to use the jigsaw a little bit to make it just right, but it was close. So we had used Spider Lath instead of steel lath in several places in the build. It's a fiberglass lath product that's nice and lightweight to use for lath. It's super easy to cut, it won't cut you back, it's not like sharp steel edges, and it lays very flat, and it won't rust, etc. So here I'm trying to see if it's also good for templating. We start each template by laying the 4x8 sheet of Spider Lath on the floor. We can see through to the underlying floor, and then we just run a Sharpie to capture the shape of the floor onto that white Spider Lath. Then we put this 4x8 sheet of Spider Lath on top of a 4x8 sheet of plywood downstairs, and we can trace that curve again with the Sharpie, which now goes through those little holes and gives a nice dotted line right on the plywood. And then up comes a new board for that same spot, and it's so easy to get that perfect fit the first time. Only 2 windows left to install. And that's the last window going in. Next we'll need to fix the giant hole in the middle of the floor. We rig up a crossbeam to hold a manual winch. We'll lower the hook and reel up a 3x6 piece of floor grate. This is a piece of 19W4 steel grating. The bars are 3/16 wide and 1 1/4 inches deep, and each weighs about 165 pounds. We'll need 2 of these to cover the hole. So here I'm literally looking through the grate and marking it where it meets the ring on the floor, so I'll know where to cut. And now I can cut it out. According to the manufacturer, the total load, if supported from only the far ends, is about 8,000 pounds across this grate, or a concentrated single point load in the middle of about 1,200 pounds. However, if supported in the other direction, that max load quadruples to 24,000 pounds. My support is kind of a hybrid blend between those two numbers, but yeah, it could hold yo mama. I'm just cutting these with a basic angle grinder. The discs are cheap and the cutting is easy. And then I switch the cutting wheel for the grinding wheel and just get rid of all the little burrs and things that are all over the surface so that it's nice and easy to walk on with your bare feet and not have any worries. Now we test fit the grates. It looks good, but we have to take them out of the way again because this is our only way in and out of this room. To solve that problem, Michael is using the Sawzall to open up a hole between this room and the mezzanine so the stairs can come through. I'd packed this area with insulation instead of concrete so it would be easy to cut out like this later. The pink is just rigid insulation, and the white-gray EPS is that quad deck flooring that forms the roof of the mezzanine that you saw us put in an earlier video. Here I'm opening up the hole a bit wider so it's big enough to actually pass through. Another day, well after all that dust had settled, I came back to enamel paint the grates. While this first layer is drying, I can also gap fill around all the windows. With the grate now in place and the floor mostly done, we can switch focus to the ceiling. For this ceiling, we're going with a very traditional batt insulation. We're using a cold roof design, which means that air will enter at the eaves via soffit vents and then proceed up above the insulation to the ridge vents. This prevents trapping moist air, which could cause mold or other issues. So it's important that this insulation doesn't block the flow of air, especially on that thin end. You can see I just chucked some extra pieces in above the batts where there's enough room though. If you look closely enough, you can also see that I installed rigid insulation dams at the top edge of the wall to prevent the insulation from falling out of the building and to maintain that fresh air gap. This doesn't need to be pretty. Here's a pic of it from the outside. And I added some steel lath scraps to prevent anything from digging through. Ultimately, the soffit will completely hide all of this and will provide an extra layer of protection that will prevent critters and bees and wasps and other insects from ever getting in here. I'm keeping the inside surface of these rafters clear because I will eventually be using them to nail the final ceiling to. I plan to use cedar boards, but that sort of finish work will need to wait. Next, I'm putting up a sheet of 6mm poly as a vapor barrier. I chose the clear kind so it'll be easy to see what I'm nailing against when I attach those ceiling boards. And at the end here, I go crazy with the Tyvek tape again. Tyvek are not a sponsor, but if they want to be, it would be super easy for me to talk about how great they are. Okay, so this is looking like something now. We have the floor in, the windows in, the ceiling is mostly insulated, the grate is covering the 6-foot diameter hole in the floor, and we're using a ladder to get up and down into here. But I still need to sort out that section at the top by the skylights. For my cool roof ventilation to work, the fresh air from the eaves needs to pass up through that roof section, through those small holes, and then get all the way up to my ridge vent. And I want that passage to be hidden behind the wall. So here I am back to build an insulated gap between the outside sheathing and the inside surface. Here when I put this piece up, it looks like I'm closing it off, but that pink layer is really held away from the white layer by about 1.5 inches. And that gap extends to the edge of the frame around the skylight and then up to the ridge vents. That bottom part has no gap, so it's just 4 total inches of rigid insulation. Next, I'm installing some metal lath to hold the stucco on the insulation. This is really breaking one of my own design rules. Generally, I would advise against floating heavy materials like masonry or stucco up in the air like that. They should ideally be visually grounded to avoid looking fake. So by that logic, I should be using like a light cedar boards up here like I plan to use for the rest of the ceiling. But because stucco handles direct sunlight better and offers great thermal mass and a few other good reasons, I'm making an exception. So to make it work, I've got to install this layer of lath for the stucco just to hold on to. And then that's it, we attach the final bits of lath and we're done. We'll come back and stucco another time. However, this roof section did require an inspection, and we passed that without any issues. Thanks for joining us.